Okay, $64,500 on Bitcoin price right now. We're actually sitting at a very important level, right? It's basically where the bears are holding control right now, which gets us to two scenarios. The first one is rejecting here and playing out to those new lows, what we spoke around. There's an important trend I need to show you guys to have in place to see when that's going to happen, right? And then secondly, is this a trap? Are we actually going to trap up to 70,000? Right, we're sitting at a very important level between a short squeeze and a massive rejection, as well as volume's been tapering down over the weekend. So we should see real volume hit the markets at any point now, and we should start to get the real move, which is something I want to speak around. The liquidity is giving us a little sign as well. I'm Sheldon, welcome to Cyber Trading. Let's jump straight into it. So guys, I was sick the last 2 or 3 days, so back in action here. Subscribe up, like up, let's go. So here we go. We lost the trend last week on that drop after FOMC from 67 down to 62. Then I spoke around a retest. Now this has taken a couple of days. And as you could see, we've slowly started creeping up. Now again, when we see a real creep up here, we also want to see a couple of things. Is volume obviously going up? Right? And again, you just look at the volume over the weekend and it's not crazy volume, right? Which means we must be careful that it might not be real, right? The move to the upside. Okay, it's slowly grinding up. However, we are getting to a point that if we look at the volume here and just draw a simple little trend line, we're getting to a point where volume is going to income, right? Now we've got to monitor the charts and obviously see where we're at. So if we look at this now, we are on the other side of the trend, okay? For us, for this to be a trap, if that's the trend, right, and we've been then lost it, we need to break back, right? These do happen at times, okay? But there will be a sign of breaking through and there'll be a retest sign, and that will be the sign there to say, hey, it's a trap, right? And that'll also create a short squeeze when we look to break through that level. Okay, so that level of control right now is $65,400. Okay, so if you look at this over here, that's where we tagged. Now the next thing I use is a Fibonacci, right, to track the mid-range. Whenever we have a drop, it's more or less the mid-range, where if we're going to continue, that's the level where it's going to hold. And that Fibonacci is showing so. So if we zoom in here, right, the 618 fib, you take the fib from the top down to the bottom, you get the key golden pocket zone, and you can see we spiked up recently, we've hit that, and now we've rejected. Okay, so now I want to speak around the bullish and bearish scenarios. So here is let's simplify the trend now. Right, you have the original trend coming from the top all the way from 14th of May. Right, that's the trend where we've been. Since we dropped, we are slowly making our way towards that trend. Okay, now we're sitting at this big zone here, and the last two lows that we have made over the last day or two becomes your support. So you have the top trend line, you have the bottom trend line. Right, you have the level of control. Okay, so let's talk bullish scenarios. Two bullish scenarios. First one is we need to break above, test, and go. Right, if that's so, I do have the $68,000 to $70,000. Okay, there will be an opportunity though in the next day or two to get some longs. Where we're at right now is telling me that there's trade setups. Right, there's good risk to rewards for shorts and for longs. So we've got to look at both scenarios and look at when are the major trigger points to pay attention to these, right? But it is telling us that there is some volume and there's a nice move incoming, possibly up to 10% on Bitcoin. which obviously means a bit bigger on altcoins. But we need to pay attention. That's something for bullish, right? There is another possible bullish scenario where we drop down and we hold 63,600, okay, and we actually push up like this. Okay, so there's my bull scenarios. The only time I'm looking for a possible bullish trade or to enter as a trade, right, is that area or a retest into that area over there. Okay, but then again, I got to look at both sides here and say pros and cons of both. Like, is it better to be bearish right now, bullish? Which one's giving me more sides? Right now, the only reason will kind of make sense here, with resistance above and outside of this trend and RSI sitting at the top with volume going down, I still have to slightly be pointed towards the bearish side, right? So the bearish side for me is us breaking down, losing this important 63,600, 700 zone, testing and actually starting to make that drop that we spoke around, right? Which for me is still highlighting, again, just a couple of reasons, USDT dominance. This has broken out, testing, and there might be a push up over here for slightly higher points, right? Once we have confirmed this next drop, and again, the drop comes on us losing this trend, we're then fighting the higher low, lower low scenarios, right? So that for me is bear. Right now, again, I could be slightly optimistic for a bull trap to come into play. This will confirm it for me losing this trend, and that will be very likely two areas of where I'll short this, short here with the stop loss here, or I'll short here with the stop loss here. When it comes to investing right now, I don't have any reasons to say that, hey, we're going to go straight up from here. Right, so I'm still sitting with some limit orders down over here when it comes to altcoins, when it comes to Bitcoin. Then I want to speak around this chart over here, right, which is the time set here, and just to go through, you guys, the cycle of what I'm basically seeing, right? We are definitely crunching down here, moving. We're going to get to a point of capitulation, and if you notice this, what we're actually doing on higher time frames, let's just get this up here, is we're actually starting to accumulate. Right, so even though it's slightly new low, we start to accumulate, and then after that is when we can restart the cycle. Okay, but this important trend on the weekly, right? You go to the weekly time frame, and you scroll up these previous highs that one we made in January, one we made in May, right? And it makes this line here. It's still telling us we are easily up to 80 to 90 days away from a real breakout. So why are we paying attention? Is because the first drops tend to be the bigger drops, right? The first drops down. And then we can see accumulation, right? This is the opportunities for those extra specials that we can pay attention to. Plus, there's some nice trade setups back up to these areas here, okay? So my basic view of just a couple ideas of where I'm basically seeing the time frame, what I'm seeing happening, is something similar like this, guys. This is kind of my views here right now, and what I'm personally trading towards, right, is a drop at any point, and this drop, like I said, can go slightly lower, right, it can even go slightly higher. It could even chop and do something like that, right? And that's why I got to be quite careful here. We're still just having a bearish approach. Then I'm looking at a strong bounce up to the 70,000s. Then I'm seeing a chop for a few weeks, and then I'm seeing a breakout and a push up closer to the end of the year, right? Anywhere there, probably looking at 80s to 90,000 by the end of the year, right? So again, good opportunities where we're sitting, but realistically, this is kind of the high time frame views that I'm seeing. And a couple of things, just jumping back to short time frame, is we are removing liquidity, right? So as you scroll through the liquidity maps here now, the big pools we had all over the place and the yellow pools, we're not seeing much of them. As you can see, this just got wiped out here at 65,000. Nothing. Not much at the bottom either on high time frame, short time frame, mid time frames. Now, when liquidity gets removed from the market, is very likely when the real move is going to happen, right? When we are accumulating, market's going to go to where liquidity is to make money. Right, the shorters go take the shorters out, take the longs out. But when the market has done enough destroying, it gets ready to make a real move, right? And now that I'm seeing all liquidity like kind of disappearing, I think it's time to get ready for a real move, right? As well as that volume tapering down. Now let's jump in here quickly and just go look at the altcoins. Same thing here, is the bulls either have to step up now or the bears are coming into play. We are here now at the main trend. We don't start doing this soon, and again, if there is so, there's going to be time for us to really get some good opportunities in altcoins. I'm very excited for the rally up on alts when things are ready. Okay, but until then, if we don't get through here, that drop is very likely at some point. All right, so alts are sitting right in resistance right now. Did also lose that trend. Right. When it comes to Bitcoin dominance, kind of hovering, actually had a spike today. So alts showing a bit of weakness. Right, Ethereum dominance was looking strong earlier. Right, but also showing a little bit of weakness right now. So still kind of optimistic for maybe a double bottom or possible lower low on alts. I am still kind of expecting a higher low. Other than ETH and Solana, I think those might make new lows. But we'll see as things start to play out. Right, if we look here at Solana, there's the trend. If things change, guys, subscribe up, see the videos every day. If things change, there's great entries, but they won't stay there for long. If we start breaking out, things are going to move up pretty quickly. Until then, there is this approach of us getting ready for the downside targets. Then when it comes to a couple of charts here to pay attention to, S&P, right, broke up, no higher high just yet. So if we start to lose these trends over the next few days, it's still likely for us to keep this target of another 6-7% down in the S&P, right? Gold is at this level over here. It's actually starting to make a nice little flag approach over here. Okay, but this is still no massive recovery, looking for downside. For now, we'll see either a bounce over there, but I'm still looking at possibly a push down to these areas here, right? The dollar index is breaking out to the upside as well. Okay, so you can see it over there too. Okay, guys, lots of love. I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Subscribe up. I did drop a new video on Sunday. Go check it out. It's a nice way to, there's education that drops on weekends as well on the channel. Lots of love. Thank you for watching. Where's my outro? Bye-bye.